Hi everybody, I'm here today with little Joseph. He wanted to come and see his aunties and he wanted to take part in Themes Thursday. And he's got his little owl blanket. It's got all different coloured little owls on it. And he's got, let me just take that, sweetheart, there you go. He's got a little t-shirt on. I don't know if you can see, it's got a bear on it. And in the corner here it's got a rabbit. So they're both woodland animals, aren't they? There you go, sweet boy. And he's wearing his navy blue trousers with the grey turn-ups that Auntie Annie bought for him, and some little blue and white check shoes that I got for him. So he's looking very smart today, aren't you, sweet boy? Yes, he is. He's looking really smart. Yes. He's such a sweet boy, isn't he? Do you want your blanket back? He wants his comfort blanket, don't you? There it is. So there he is, my little Joseph. You haven't seen him for a while, have you? I thought I'd bring him on today so you can have a little look at him again. He's still very shy, aren't you? He's a very shy boy. But he's a sweet little boy, isn't he? I'm sure you love him as much as I do. And I wanted to show you a couple of things. The little booties and hat that I've made for Sarah Louise. There's the little booties. It's a lovely colour blue. And this wall actually has these little roses in it. So they're all haphazard. You never know where they're going to come up. Now, I was a bit worried that, I'd end up with them all on one side. But there's two on that side, one on the inside of that one and one on the outside. So they do kind of match up. And I've put some really pretty blue ribbon in that's almost the same colour as the roses. So that's her little pair of booties. And then I kind of combined two patterns and I've made her this little sun hat. And once again, the blue roses are dotted out all around the hat. Unfortunately, the prettiest bit of it, where there's four roses, is actually at the back, which is a bit annoying. But you can't, there's nothing at the front of the hat, which is a bit annoying. I suppose I could put it on her that way round, but you can see the seam. So, but anyway, there's some roses along the brim as well. So it looks quite nice, and it's a little fluffy brim. I decided to do a frilly one, so a frilly hat, and that goes with the little booties. So I think that's a nice little set for her. I will try that on her over the weekend with this, she's got some pretty little Sarah Louise dresses that I've bought for her. And I actually got this one in the mail today that I bought. It's a pale pink Sarah Louise dress. It's got little rosebuds all over the top of it and some smocking. And it's got lovely layers, petticoats underneath it. Really pretty. And that's brand new. And I bought that off a lady on eBay for $13.99. I bet that was about £50 really. Beautiful little dress, and I've just put it up against her and it looks lovely on her. And I thought that pale pink would go nicely with the dark pink booties and headband I've knitted for her. I don't know what you think, but I think that will all look nice together. And I'm pleased with the way that the booties and the blue booties and that have come out, although with the random rosebuds I'm a bit upset that they weren't a bit more spread out, but never mind. One of those things you can't tell with these random ones, can you, little boy? No. I'm going to knit her a little cardigan to go with that as well, because I've got plenty of the wool left. So I will do that, so she's got a cardigan. And this little man's been giving her a hug today, haven't you? He's been having a little cuddle with his new sister. Even, he likes to do it in his own time. He's been a bit shy because she's been here a few days, but You know, he's one of those little boys that he's not quite sure, so I have to kind of take care of him and let him do things in his own time. But he's a good boy. And I wanted to talk to you about something a bit different today. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be interested, but I thought I would. And this is something about myself, you know, something that you don't know about me. And about 30 years ago now, I was made redundant from a job where I was working in a factory with one of my sisters, and I was soldering printed circuit boards, you know, that go inside everything really, you know, televisions and radios, everything. You know, putting the diodes into the boards and the transformers and everything and the resistors, putting them in to a pattern and soldering them and cleaning them and everything, you know, to be sold out. And I was actually made redundant from that job. My sister stayed on there, but they made me redundant, which was an awful feeling. So I can, like, know how Anne is feeling at the moment. Oh, and a bit of good news while I'm talking about that. My eldest son has now got another job because he was made redundant. I knew he wouldn't be on the market long because he's been in insurance for 28 years now, and he's so experienced, and I just knew that they'd snap him up, and they have, for a very good salary. So that's a bit of good news. He's flown off to Rome today with his wife. They're having a holiday for a week. So I hope they have a lovely time out there anyway. And getting back to what I was talking about, I always tend to get sidetracked, don't I? Mum is terrible for getting sidetracked. Yes, she is. I only have to look at you babies and I get sidetracked. Anyway, when I was made redundant, I was pretty miserable, and I sat at home and I thought to myself, well, what can I do? I don't want to go looking for another job straight away because the way I'm feeling, I haven't really got the confidence, because it does knock your confidence. And I thought, well, the one thing that I've always loved doing and wanted to do was write a book. Now, when I was a little girl and when I was at school, I used to love English, and I used to love writing stories and writing poetry, and I did a lot of that. And I always enjoyed it, and I love to read. I love the smell of books and the smell of paper, you know. When you open a new book or open a new notepad, the smell of the paper, oh, I love it. It really does something for me. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but it does for me. Anyway. And so I decided I'd start to write a book. And I came up with some ideas. I wanted to do a love story. And I came up with some ideas. And I started to write it freehand. And as I was writing it, the characters kind of came to life themselves, and I really enjoyed doing it. And when my youngest son came home, because he was at university at the time, he said to me, well, don't write it longhand, Mum. I'll put on my computer, because the computer was at home, but I didn't use it. He said, I'll put up a document for you, and you can type into it, and it'll go on to the next page. I'll set it up for you. He said, and then we can print it out if you want. So anyway, I hadn't got very far into it. I'd only done like a couple of chapters. So I sat and typed in what I'd already done and changed a few things and everything. And ended up writing this love story. And I was really proud of it. I thought it was really good. As you always do, don't you, Joseph? If you do anything, you always think it's good. And you know, I really thought it was good. Anyway, it was all printed out, and my son said to me, why don't you send it to Mills and Boon or somebody? And I said, well, no, it's just for me, really. And he said, well, go on, send it off, see what they think of it. So with his encouragement, I sent it off. And it came back to me, and they said to me that they really liked it, but they needed more dialogue. Well, while I was waiting for it to come back, I actually got another job, and I started to work. And I started to work full-time at a bank, Abbey National, and I had a very responsible job there, and I really didn't have the time to do it. And it was kind of put away and forgotten about for years, a long, long time. Must have been about 25 years. It was forgotten about. And then it was November time a couple of years ago. We were living here, and every night my son seemed to be staying up late. He was on his what they call them, the smaller computers. I can't remember what they're called. Laptop. He was on his laptop in bed tapping away, and I said to him, what was he doing? And he said it was work. Anyway, on Christmas Eve, he was getting a bit worried that a present of mine hadn't turned up. Are you all right, darling? Are you all right? You're not bored, are you? Are you bored of Mummy? He's a sweetie, isn't he? And he said, oh, thank goodness that's come. I said, what is it? He said, never you mind. So I thought, oh, it must be something for me. Anyway, on Christmas morning, excuse me, oh, sorry about that. I'm having a coughing fit now. Is it gone? Sorry, I've still got this terribly dry throat. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, on Christmas morning, I opened this present and I couldn't believe my eyes, because this is what he bought me. He had actually sat and written out all of my book, edited it, because that's what he does, and he'd sent it off to a printers in America, and he'd had it done for me, had it printed. So this is my book. He chose the flowers at the beginning, and it's called Silent Seduction, and it's by Suzanne Carroll, which is my first name and my middle name. And it's actually my book. He had it printed. So this is my book that I wrote. There's only the one copy of it, but it's in print. What an absolutely fantastic present. He, you know, I couldn't believe that he'd done it, and that's what he'd been sitting up doing. He'd been typing it all in and editing it, and had sent it off to be done for me. He did it in, oh, it says 2010, so it was even further away than I remember. So it was 2010 it was actually, so 6 years ago, not 2 years ago. And it's actually in print. So this is the book I actually wrote, and he had published for me. And as I say, there's only the one copy, because it's my copy. I wonder if you might be interested in listening to a few lines of it. I'll read you a few lines of the first chapter. As I said, it's called Silent Seduction, and it's a love story. And this is chapter 1. The restaurant was busy tonight, but then it was very popular. The Mermaid was the best seafood restaurant for miles around, and seemed the perfect choice to entertain Eric and Barbara Roberts, John's boss and his wife. Seafood was a passion of theirs, and John had wanted to impress them both. Hopefully promotion was on the cards, and a good meal in a great atmosphere would help things along. It was certainly a beautiful restaurant. Large aquariums full of exotic fish and plants lined the walls, and silver and gold fishing nets draped tastily from the azure ceiling. It all helped to give a warm and cosy atmosphere. Rebecca was pleased with her choice and hoped that John would be too. A waitress in a blue and white naval uniform, or an extremely clever copy, gave them their menus. Even these were a pleasure to look at. They were a perfect oyster shell shaped in cream with a beautiful gold edging. Everything is gorgeous, Rebecca. What a clever girl you are to find such a heavenly place to eat, Barbara chirped happily. As long as the food lives up to the rest of the place, her husband smiled. Trust you to put your stomach before the ambience, Eric. The others couldn't help but laugh at Barbara's statement. It was so true to Eric's nature, and he would be the first to admit it. Rebecca was just thinking to herself what a nice couple Eric and Barbara were, when an outrageous burst of laughter filled the air from a group of men at a corner table. Her heart missed a beat at the sound of a particularly deep laugh that stood out against the others. "Don't be silly," she chided herself, trying to not to look in their direction. "Someone's having a good time," Barbara said, smiling. "Probably just told a dirty joke," her husband teased her. "Perhaps we should find out what it was. You never know, we could use it on our next advert if it's that good." "That's what I like about you, John. You're always thinking about work. A man after my own heart," Eric grinned. Robert could see that John was pleased by Eric's statement. His blue eyes sparkled. He'd worked very hard and deserved recognition. So that is the beginning of it. I don't know what you think of it, but it's a love story. Rebecca is my heroine. She has a successful career in advertising, and her partner John, who's also her best friend and closest confidant. On the cusp of landing her new account, which could result in promotion, Rebecca has chance encounter with an old flame that reawakens something in her she's almost forgotten. He is everything John isn't: unpredictable, exciting and dangerous. But what does he want? What is he insinuated? Why has he insinuated himself into every aspect of Rebecca's life? Could he be looking for revenge, or does he have another motive? As Rebecca struggles to keep her world from falling apart, she cannot help but fall victim to his silent seduction. I expect you think it's total twaddle, but I totally enjoyed writing it, and I was so excited when my son had it published for me. I really did. And so there's another little bit you didn't know about Suzanne from Suzanne's Babies. What do you think, little Joseph? What do you think of Mummy's story? He likes it, don't you? He likes anything his mummy does. That's what I love about children. They never mind what you do they? When they're this little. When they get older, they do mind a bit more. Anyway, you're going to give everybody a kiss, Joseph? Oh, go on, give him a kiss. Big kiss from Joseph. And a big kiss from me. Love you, ladies.